You know how, like growing up, when your parents would tell you, if you don't clean your room, then we're not going to blah, 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 X, Y, and Z. And then if you don't clean your room, but then they don't follow through with what they said their punishment was going to be, then you know, like, learn to not take them seriously, and like, they lost like some authority in your eyes. If they do that, they have to follow through with what they say their punishment is going to be. Well, this is kind of what we have to deal with in the Genesis account, in Genesis chapter 3, when God says that in the day that you eat of the fruit, you will die. And then we have, here comes Satan coming along. You will not surely die. Your eyes will be open. You will be as gods, knowing good and evil. And then they eat the fruit. They don't die. And then God confirms at the end, behold, man has become as one of us, the gods, knowing good and evil. Let's put him out of the garden so that he can't live forever. So he didn't kill them. He didn't make them die. So I don't think that God that's being portrayed there is the correct God. Because it is a plural God. Behold, the man has become as one of us, one of the gods. Satan says, in the day you eat of it, you will be as gods. Then Jesus says in John chapter 10, he says, it says in your law, ye are gods. So there's like a plural gods that is not the one true God. The one true God cannot lie. We know this from the New Testament. God that cannot lie. So the God in the Old Testament Genesis account of the fall, we can't take him seriously, because he said in the day you'll eat of it, and then in the day you eat of the tree, you will die. And Satan says you will not surely die. And who ended up being right? You have to spiritualize that and say, oh, it was a spiritual death. It was separation from God. Well, then why are you taking the tree literal, the woman literal, the serpent, the talking snake literal? If you're going to spiritualize the death, that, oh, they had a spiritual death that occurred in the day that they ate of it, then why don't you just spiritualize the whole thing? You know? It's just, the whole story doesn't really work, and like, God's like surprised that they ate of the tree, like, oh, who told you you were naked? Did you eat of the tree? Like, he's not an omnipotent God. He's not a all-knowing God. And how I've like seen this is because I read the Gnostic texts, and they point all of this out, and it is very obvious once you just look at it. I mean, just look at it with like fresh eyes and see that God is not the same God of the New Testament. I'm sorry. They're not the same God.